So as you may know, I really enjoy Dead by Daylight, but what I enjoy more are quality of life settings that will help improve the game and how you play it. Unfortunately, as we may know, Dead by Daylight currently does not have that many quality of life settings or other related quality of life things. So I just wanted to share my 15 quality of life changes that I would like to see in Dead by Daylight. These aren't in a specific order of how important I think they are. The only order there is when I thought of them. Hopefully this somehow makes it to someone at behavior and maybe some of these ideas even get implemented into the game. Like I said, I really love this game, I want the best for it, and I do think a lot of these changes could help towards making the game even better. So the first thing on my list is better video settings. What I mean by this is stuff like being able to separately set your texture quality, shadow quality, post-processing quality, stuff like that. Because the only way to do that right now is by using the game user settings.ini. Whereas if you could do it in-game, it would be way more convenient. And pretty much every other game lets you do it this way. I don't see why Dead by Daylight still cannot. Second thing on my list is uncapped FPS. Now I know that there are some issues with certain things, like for example balanced landing, where it works better on 60 FPS than it does on 120. Or for example Wesker hook techs, where you go further on a lower FPS, but it's easier to initiate the hook tech on higher FPS. Which, to be honest, I think it would just be nice if behavior would fix those issues, if that makes sense, and just like make them all the same, no matter what FPS you're running on, as that is what most games do that are online. And having a 240Hz makes playing 120 FPS just feel so bad. It constantly feels like there's frames duplicating and it's like stuttery and jittery, whereas playing on 240 would make it way smoother. Even if the game currently can't run at that frame rate, I think I would still rather play at an inconsistent like 140, 160 than to be hard locked to 120. The third thing on my list is better sensitivity options. What I mean with this is currently the sensitivity slider for Killer is really bad, and even on Survivor, to be fair, you can not go too low. This makes playing on higher DPI really bad if you are used to lower sensitivities. And like right now, if you're playing on 800 DPI like I do, then the lowest centimeter per 60 you can get on Survivor is 40, but then on Killer it's only like 15 centimeters per 60, which is really bad, so I really want them to rework that sensitivity slider to work way better. It would also be nice if you could make it so Slinger's ADS sensitivity matches your quote-unquote hipfire sensitivity, because it is honestly kind of annoying that the ADS sense on Slinger is like 1/4 your normal sense. The fourth thing on my list would be Scratchmark or red stain or aura color changers. So basically, what this would allow you to do is make generators, for example, be orange colored, and then you can have auras be purple, and then you can have Scratchmark still be red if you want to, or you could make the red stain yellow, stuff like that. It would just be really good for colorblind accessibility or just personal preference, you know, like... Another thing on my list would be Viewmodel settings. Now, I kind of doubt this one would ever happen, but basically what I mean with this is being able to change the FOV of your first person like view model, or like change the positioning around, or make it so that you can disable like the movement animations of it. Like I said, I doubt this would ever happen, but it would be cool to see. Another thing I would like to see, which would be really good quality of life for solo queue players, is an in-game pinging system. Just so you can ping like, oh, I'm doing this generator, or the killer is chasing me here, or, you know, stuff like that. Go for unhook, gate is over here. Alternatively, I would say add a voice chat, but I know people are heavily against it because of how toxic some people can be. I don't think it would be that big of a problem to add voice chat if they made it really simple to mute someone or report someone. But I also understand that people just maybe don't want it, and since pubs are kind of a casual thing and not really supposed to be taken competitively, you don't really need a voice chat, I guess. Though if they were to ever add a ranked mode, which I honestly hope, then it would be nice to have a voice chat. Another thing I would like to see is a customizable HUD, so that you can change where your stuff is positioned. So for example, if I want to have the perk icons top left for some reason, then I can do that. I know there's already like very slight HUD customization already, where you can disable certain HUD elements, or you can make your HUD smaller. But it would be nice if you could just move it around. Especially like for those people who are super nostalgic about the old UI. I think that would be nice to have as like an option. And then it would be cool if you could share customized HUD stuff through, for example, like codes, like how Counter-Strike lets you share crosshairs through codes. Another thing I'd like to see implemented into the game is a way to do multiple binds on the same action. So right now, if you want to have multiple binds on one action, you have to go to input INI and you have to like add a line, copy a line, change it, blah blah blah. It's a lot of like effort, and it took me like 10 minutes to just to bind my scroll and spacebar to both do vaulting. Whereas if you could just do it in game, like it would maybe take a minute at most. So being able to have multiple binds for the same action in-game would be really nice to have for people like me that like to have multiple binds on one action. Another thing I'd like to see is for the game to show what archive you're on. or what archive you're doing while you're in the pause menu. So right now, you have to pretty much remember what archive you're doing, or you will not know what archive you're doing. So if you could just like press escape, see the archive in your UI, then that would be perfect. Another thing I'd like to see is a matchmaking ping limiter, because I am tired of going against people that have 80 ms every single match when I only have 20. It is honestly really frustrating to like get hit through windows or through pallets when you shouldn't be, because the killer's ping is just simply that bad. Alternatively, if this is something they don't want to do because it would kind of alienate like a player base and it would make queue times longer, stuff like that, then I would like to see the return of hit validation with how strong it was like back in the day. The only reason they got rid of the hit validation being that strong is because people were getting hits on their screen but it wouldn't connect on the server end, so they don't actually get the hit. I don't even think that was a bad thing necessarily, and it was probably something they could have worked around, but instead they just decided to punish anyone that goes against a higher ping killer. Another thing that I think will be really good for the longevity of the game would be a workshop, or just user-generated content in general. So this doesn't have to be skins. I doubt it would be skins, because skins is the way that they make money. So I would say let people make custom maps, or maybe a custom menu, stuff like that, you know? So that if it's good enough, or if Behavior thinks it's a good map, for example, then they could, you know, contact the person that made it and like get it officially implemented into the game. I think that would be really cool to see, and it would definitely make me even want to pick up like Unreal Engine, which is how I'm assuming you would have to do it to try to make custom maps. Another thing I'd like to see would be instant bloodwebs, or just being able to instantly spend all of your blood points at once. Basically right now you click the middle of the bloodweb and it still takes like a couple seconds to go through it. Whereas how I would want it to be is that you click it, it instantly does the web, and then you go next level without the level pop-up. That would be ideal. And alternatively, with how much blood points I sometimes save, like right now I'm like 5.2 million, it would be really nice if I could just click one button and have it spend everything on that character until you have to prestige, maybe just to like kind of limit it. So if you want to get to prestige 3 really fast, you can just spend all of your blood points at once and then you're there, kind of thing. Would save a lot of time, because I'm still currently spending like 20 minutes in bloodwebs just spending 2 million. Another thing that I would like to see, which is pretty small, is that you can disable controller input in-game. So anytime 2v8 comes out and I want to play killer on 2v8, I want to play something else while queuing, but I don't have like a console to play games on. So if I want to play a game that I have to play with controller, for example Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, then I would have to somehow, in some cheaty way, not even cheaty, just like in some weird way, I would have to disable controller input for Dead by Daylight, which I don't even know how to do that. So I just cannot play controller games while queuing for like 2v8 killer, for example. So it would be nice if I could just fully disable controller support or controller inputs in-game, because I'm not going to use controller in-game anyway, and it would let me play other games while queuing. Now the second to last thing that I would like to see would be that every input is client-sided. So right now, movement is client-sided, which is fine. Like, your movement will not feel laggy or anything. But if you've ever used a flashlight on a high ping, then you will notice that the clicks are delayed. So I think it would be nice that, for example, flashlight clicks would be client-sided, or putting up your power or using your power. Because, for example, Blight is also hindered by higher ping, because it makes you bounce back more. It would be nice if that was more like as if you're playing on LAN, so that there's no like lag influencing how your power works or how your flashlight works, stuff like that. Now the final thing on my list would be a shared inventory. What I mean with this is that stuff like items are shared between survivors or add-ons, and then that offerings could be shared between both survivor and killer if it's like a bloody party streamers or an anniversary cake. I just don't understand why items have to be limited per survivor, because it's just a reskin. And I would love to use my 1500 cakes that I have on Sable on a different character. I mean, I love playing Sable, don't get me wrong, but it would be nice to switch characters from time to time. And it's the same on Killer. Like, if I want to use a BPS on... Let's say I want to use a BPS on Ghostface, but I only have BPS on Huntress, then I'm kind of screwed, because now I have to play Huntress just to use BPS. When it would be way nicer to be able to let you use those on a different killer. Or if you want to use a map offering, which I know, controversial, ooh. But if you want to use like an auto-haven offering on a different character, but you don't have that offering, like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like add-ons and offerings and items need to be locked to one character only. Though I do also kind of understand it from a progression standpoint. But I honestly think like the moment you've prestiged a survivor maybe, or prestiged a killer, you should just have access to other offerings from other characters. Like obviously it shouldn't be unlocked by default, but it would be nice to have it unlocked at some point and be able to use every offering on every character. So yeah, those are the 15 things I could think of that I would want to see in Dead by Daylight that are quality of life features. I hope I've made what I said like clear enough and that nothing was too confusing for you to understand. Also to all the people who have stuck around, thanks for the 5,000 subscribers. I know I haven't really been uploading much at all recently, like this video and the last video was like 2 months in between. I just haven't really had the motivation to play Dead by Daylight that much. I've been playing way more shooters. I'm hoping at some point in the near future I can find the motivation again to actively play Dead by Daylight, and yeah, I don't know, I just hope I can find the motivation again soon. I'm not really a big fan of like making just chase videos anymore though, so I just have to like try to think of video ideas that would be interesting. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you like my stuff. I also stream on Twitch regularly. Like I said, I've been playing more shooters recently, but I always make sure to come back on chapter releases or archive challenge releases. So at least I'll be on Dead by Daylight on those days. I might try to go for P100 Tauri as fast as I can, just so I have something to do with Dead by Daylight. No one cares, I know, blah blah blah. I'll see you on the next video or on Twitch. Bye bye!